Welcome, trainers, to a journey down memory lane, where we play through each Pokemon generation and talk about our experiences, starting with Generation 1, the Kanto region. My name is Chris. I'm the normal trainer, and I'm playing Pokemon Blue. I am also joined by my two fellow co-hosts.
My name is Sean, and I'm the Pokemon Master, and I'm playing Pokemon Red.
And my name is Dustin. I'm the Pokemon Hunter, and I'm playing Pokemon Yellow. And we are known as the Trainer Trio.
In our last episode, we acquired the... I actually don't remember what badge we got. No, we acquired the Cascade badge.
Yes, we did.
And to go over also what happened in between the last episode and this episode, we did finally play some Pokemon battles between each other. And this is where we found where basically our Pokemon parties truly lied. And we found out that both me and Chris were kind of on the same level, but nowhere on the same level as Sean. Sean won 4 games to 0 losses, and then both Chris and I have beaten each other once, so we are both 1-3. And how that worked was we basically did a round robin with our first gym team, so once we beat Brock, we played like 2 games each, and then we also did another one 2 games each after Misty, so look forward to that after this to see if we stand a chance.
I do not look forward to that.
I will just say there's a reason I'm the Pokemon Master.
So in our last episode, we defeated Misty, the second gym leader, at Cerulean City, and that started our journey to Vermilion City to defeat Lieutenant Surge. So after you defeat Misty, you notice that you can go through the house that Team Rocket destroyed. Going through there, you can talk to an NPC, and they give you the TM for Dig, which made me a little happy because I have a little Sand Slash, which can learn Dig. So, nice 100 power base move right there. Woot woot.
I did the same thing as Chris. I also have a Sand Slash now that has Dig.
Oh, wow. Well, so I went a little out of the pocket with my Dig choice because, I really wanted my Nidorina at the time to learn Dig, but it couldn't learn Dig, which I thought was annoying because, it's a ground type and it would be amazing to have that stat bonus. So I went and I gave my my Squirtle Dig. So now I have the coverage to handle electric types with my Squirtle / Wartortle.
Gotta be honest, I had no idea that Wartortle could learn Dig, but learned something new.
Yeah, it's pretty, I didn't know it was 100 base power. That's crazy. Super strong for Dig.
Yeah, so I had to look this up, but Dig in the future generations, I believe, is a 70 power base move, but in Generation 1, it's 100. It's kind of OP, which if you have a Sand Slash, then you get same type attack bonus, so you get a 150 base power move pretty early, so definitely something to pick up.
And I guess while we're on the topic of parties too, I guess it might be a little bit more recent for me compared to you guys from our last episode, since I guess for everyone else listening, it's been a little while since we filmed our last episode, but I've been the one editing it. And I noticed that in going up to the second gym, I did capture a Venonat because I wanted to try him out and really train him and be like, all right, I'm going to be a bug trainer now. But immediately after the second gym, I tossed him out of my party. I realized I could not become a bug trainer. So I definitely changed up my party, which we'll go into a little bit later. At least my whole strategy. I was trying, especially after playing against Sean in those battles, it made me realize I'm not a great Pokemon trainer. So definitely changed up the strategy there.
I guess I'll ask, so we picked up Dig, and then did you guys have any experiences going down, I guess, Route 5 into Route 6, getting to Vermilion City?
I did. So I did capture 2 new Pokemon in that case. I finally caught my Abra, so I caught up to you guys. And I also read its Pokédex, which it said it sleeps 18 hours per day and will teleport even while it sleeps. So I thought how crazy and dangerous that would be. Just how does it know where to teleport while it's sleeping? And then the second Pokemon I caught was Jigglypuff. So I finally conquered my demons, which Jigglypuff using Sing always put my Pokemon to sleep. So I thought this is now my chance to take revenge. Does anyone else have stories?
I don't think I have any. Oh, I actually did. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm looking at the Pokemon that you can catch on Route 5. And of course, Dustin, the two Pokemon you caught are exclusive to Pokemon Yellow. I do not have an opportunity to catch Jigglypuff or Abra in Route 5. But exclusive to Pokemon Blue, you can catch a Meowth at level 10, 12, 14, or 16. So that's what I did. I caught a level 16 Meowth, and it was called the Scratch Cat Pokemon. So I named it Scratch Cat.
Now that is a creative name.
Stay tuned. Later in the game, I get to a point where I can rename him, and I actually do. For the time being, my Meowth is called Scratch Cat, but that was my Pokemon I picked up and actually added to my team. I'm currently using Meowth on my team.
Oh, wow. Well, I really didn't have anything eventful my first time going down there. You know, I didn't really pick up any of the Pokemon or didn't have any crazy battles with any of the trainers that really stuck with me. It was just kind of monotonous.
That's okay.
So then we all got to Vermilion City, what was the first thing that you guys kind of decided to go do?
Wow, Sean, you're just jumping all over the place. I mean, how did you even get to Vermilion City? You know, you could have went south. There was a guard blocking you that said they were thirsty, so I guess you naturally had to go on the underground path. Were you searching around in the underground path? There's an NPC that tells you that people drop a lot of things over there.
Yeah, I didn't do any of that.
You know, I saw that and I was like, what do you mean? There's nothing in this path. So I played through the whole thing, walked through the whole thing. I was like, why is this in the game? You can't see anything, can't find anything. I didn't realize you're actually supposed to be looking for items.
Yeah, caves or underground paths, that's the best place to look for hidden items. There's a lot more in Fire Red and Leaf Green, but just looking at Red, Blue, and Yellow, you can find a full restore hidden on the ground, and you can find an X special. So getting one of the best healing items very early into the game.
I don't need those healing items.
And also, there's an in-game trade. It looks like you can train a Nidoran male for a Nidoran female in Red and Blue, or you can trade a Cubone for a Machoke in Pokemon Yellow. Did you guys do any trades? Dustin, could you even do a trade?
No, I have not found the Cubone yet, so no can do.
I didn't do that trade because it was the male one for the female one, correct?
Yes.
And see, I only caught the female one, so there's no point to do the trade because I didn't have the male one. I already had the female.
Okay. I did the trade because I had the opposite, but I'm also not using any of them on my team, so that was just a nice way for me to acquire new Pokemon. Well, okay, now we can get further to Vermilion City. So you come out of the underground path. Conveniently, now you're on Route 6. It looks like you have just bypassed all of Saffron City. So Route 6 has no items to mention, and it has no new Pokemon to mention. However, there are some trainers. I don't know if you guys took any notes on any of the trainers. Looks like none of them are too interesting, although there is Eradicate level 16 that gave me a little bit of trouble there. But anything in Route 6 for you guys?
Again, still nothing here.
Yeah. All right. We can talk about Sean's question. What did we do when we reached Vermilion City?
You know, that's just the most next exciting thing that happened. Vermilion City. I'll just, I guess, start us off. Of course, I had to talk to the person to get the old rod, but I didn't use it at all, but I just remembered that being there from Fire Red, so I talked to that person again to get it in this game. And then the next thing I did is I went to the Pokemon fan club, talked to the president to get that bike voucher.
I guess talking about the Pokemon fan club, I just know some of the lines that said that I guess there's one of the people talking about the leader saying that you can listen to the leader brag about his Pokemon, which I didn't really see too many of his Pokemon other than the Clefairy, which in Pokemon Yellow Pikachu actually walks up to the Clefairy. So I guess Pikachu really likes Clefairy in the in-world lore.
That's cute.
What else? I do have, just a couple like things I noticed inside the town. There's a lady inside the town that mentioned that Grimer multiplies in toxic sludge, which is another just terrifying fact about the Pokemon universe. Imagining that Pokemon just multiplying, like, if you're in any type of urban city, that doesn't sound good. What else? There's a sign that said Vermilion City. Vermilion City is the port of exquisite sunsets, which, of course, in this game, couldn't really see the sunset, sadly. Were you guys able to see any sunsets?
Unfortunately, I did not see any sunsets, but I'll check the battery in my game, make sure the clock is running.
One last note I have was, I forgot which house this was, but there's a letter to PP, which says, Chris, I see you smile. It just says, I look forward to seeing you soon. I heard Saffron City has problems with Team Rocket. It appears Vermilion City is safe. So, I guess I didn't really realize, even though, Team Rocket is some kind of terrorist group, but this really made it hit home that, like, oh, there's, like, cities you shouldn't be traveling to just because of them. But it looks like we are in the safe city today.
Looks like there's also a trade you can do in Vermilion City. At least in Pokemon Red and Blue, you can trade a Spearow for a Farfetch'd, which I did just because why not? However, Farfetch'd is one of the worst Pokemon in the game. It does not evolve. It has nothing special going for it, although it can learn HMs later on. So this actually turned out to be a somewhat useful trade for me. Sean, did you pick up Farfetch'd?
I remember looking at that trade and being like, why would I give up my great Sparrow that I think at the time it evolved to a Pharaoh? Like, why would I give that up for this terrible Pokemon? So I did not do that trade.
And do you know what Dustin gets as a Pokemon instead in Vermilion City?
I don't.
Oh, well, I'm looking at the wiki for Vermilion City. It says that there's a Squirtle that you can get, but did you encounter any Squirtle?
I did not, but I did encounter someone saying they had a Squirtle. But that was it. That was all I got.
Oh, well, I don't know what the conditions are for getting that Squirtle, but you'll have to report back to us if you can get it.
We'll see if I try. I know you guys already have the starters. I do have the Charmander, but I'm not going to use them.
I mean, but you can. Chris was using a Pikachu, so he's taking your starter.
Oh, man, I feel bad about that, too, because, like, I guess we'll talk about it later, but my Pikachu has seen better days. It has not been used as much as it should be.
Oh, no.
At some point, I dropped my Pikachu as well. Like, currently on my team, I have just a Sandslash, a Meowth, and a Charmeleon. So at some point, and I dropped Raticate for Meowth as well. So I'm going through some changes on my team. I'm doing some experimenting.
Oh, wow. So this is when we're at Vermilion City, our team, yeah? Or is that current?
Honestly, I think trying to remember, it's kind of both, but at the same time, I mean, I could drop Pikachu at any point, considering that Vermilion is an electric gym. It was not going to help me in any way, shape, or form. So I was like, I'm gonna give you up right now.
Yeah, and in this case, like, I was just training my Sandshrew to evolve into Sandslash because I was like, just want to be prepared for the electric. So that was one of my main Pokemon going into this gym.
Well, then, I guess I'll ask next. So, Vermilion City, obviously, when you tried to go to the gym, you noticed there's a tree blocking your way. And so, when that happened, did you guys continue to, did you go to the SS Anne, or did you guys head out to Route 11 to see the Diglet's Cave?
I guess for me, I went straight to the SS Anne. I want to get that done and out with.
Yeah, I did the same thing just because Diglet's Cave is good if you're looking to get a Diglet and attack Lieutenant Surge with it. But since I already had my Sandslash, I said, nothing for me to see in Diglet's Cave.
So you went straight to SS Anne also, Chris?
I did. I went back to Diglet's Cave later, but I went straight to the SS Anne and started exploring.
Oh wow, so I was the outlier. I want to I went through Diglet's cave and went to the all the way to the end. So I guess back to the beginning of the game. And that is when I talked to someone and realized that they were offering a trade of an Abra for Mr. Mime. And I only caught Abra so that I could do that glitch with you, Chris, so that you wouldn't be the only one with a Mew. So I thought, you know what, I've never really used a Mr. Mime before. So I went back, got my Abra from the PC, and I traded and I added Mr. Mime to my team.
Hey, and your Mr. Mime should be called Marcel, is that correct?
It is called Marcel, and I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of that name, but I can't really change it.
I did the same thing and also traded, and Mr. Mime is on my team, and his name is Miles.
Miles? Like Miles Morales?
Yes.
I did the trade as well. I did Diglet's cave afterwards and did the trade, but I've actually used that Mr. Mime before, and the advantage to using traded Pokemon, it's the same as if it's an outside trade versus if it's internal. Like, you still get that experience points boost. So using that trade is so beneficial to get a psychic type on your team that gets boosted experience. It's pretty sweet.
Yes, Mr. Mime has been done a lot of work for me since I got him.
And last thing to note on that, I Googled it, and the thought behind the Mr. Mime being named Marcel is named after a French mime artist named Marcel Marceau that was born in the 1920s. I guess he was pretty big during World War II, and they decided to name Mr. Mime after that, even though I'm pretty sure that goes over everyone's head.
Thanks for the fun fact, Chris.
Oui, oui.
Did you catch any new Pokemon on your way over there, Sean? Since we'll probably talk about this first and then go to the SSN after.
I didn't catch any Pokemon, no. I was considering in the Diglet cave, I came across a Dugtrio that was a super high level, like I don't remember what level, and so I was considering catching it. But then I believe it fainted one of my Pokemon, and I got mad, and so I had to faint it.
Oh man, I did not see a single Dugtrio on there, just Diglets.
Oh wow.
Dugtrio is a 5% chance encounter, and you can only find it at level 29 or 31. So consider yourself lucky for finding it, Sean.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but I've definitely found it twice later. Chris, did you catch any other Pokemon?
I think I caught a Diglet just because it was in front of me, and I'm trying to fill out my Pokedex a little bit, but didn't add it to my team, and I did not stay around long enough to find a Dugtrio. Also because it's a good place to grind. If you have a Squirtle or if you have a Bulbasaur, you can just keep one-shotting them and grinding and leveling up. With a Charmeleon, it is not fun, so I was not staying around in Diglet's cave.
All right, and then there's the routes right beside Diglet's cave. Did you immediately do that, Sean, or did you go to the SSN afterwards?
I immediately went to that route to Once because once when I got the Mr. Mime, it was a little underleveled because of my Abra that I traded was, I don't remember what level, but then so I fought those trainers, and with the XP boost, it like caught up almost to the rest of my party, and so I just followed those trainers. I didn't. I was considering if I found, because I know over there's a Drowsy, and so if I encountered one, I would probably try and catch it and not add it to my party. But I never encountered it while I was out there, so did not catch it.
And you, Chris?
I did catch Drowsy as well. I went over and started fighting those Pokemon over there, or the Pokemon trainers over there. Caught myself a Drowsy. Tried to continue going, and there's a nice sleeping Pokemon blocking our way, so I turned back, unfortunately.
And I guess right before you get to that sleepy Pokemon, there is a building, and inside you can actually get an item if you have a certain number of Pokemon in your Pokédex. Were you guys able to get it? I believe you had to have 30 Pokemon in your Pokédex.
I was not able to get it. If you haven't been able to tell, I haven't really caught many Pokemon, so.
Well, in this case, I was very frustrated because before I went to beat the third gym, I tried my best to get the 30th Pokemon, but I ended like this gym run with only 29 Pokemon in my Pokédex. So I was so close. But I did end up catching Drowsy and Raticate, and I even evolved my Clefairy into a Clefable with a Moonstone. All trying to get to 30 Pokemon.
I'm in the same boat. I currently, as we're talking right now, only have 24 owned Pokemon, so I definitely do not have the 30 to get that. Although I know there's, I went back and got another gift after the SSN, which I'll be talking about that later.
Well, let's move in. Well, before we move into the SSN, the last thing I wanted to talk about, at least in this route, was I did notice that there was quite a few Gambler trainers, which was a new trainer type to see. And I noticed one of their lines was they never won, and another one that said they never lose. So I knew that one of them had to be wrong, which obviously is the one that never loses.
Well, you know, if you play roulette and you just keep doubling your money, you'll never lose.
You will lose. Do not listen to that.
That's how I win money. Otherwise, I did notice one other trainer type, which was the engineer. So I thought that was cool since now I am an engineer playing Pokemon. So again, to see my own type was pretty fun. Otherwise, that's the last of my stories from these routes.
Have you noticed that different trainer types will give you different amounts of money when you beat them? Like, the Gambler was giving you over 1,000 Pokédollars when you were beating them, versus if you find like a junior trainer or a youngster, they're just giving you in the hundreds. So it actually does depend on which trainer type you're fighting.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll challenge you guys to pay attention to that next time you come across. I think Gambler is one of the highest, and Burglar, which we haven't encountered yet, but that one's gonna give you a couple thousand per each victory as well.
Well, without further ado, shall we talk about the SSN?
Let's go for it.
All right. So one of the first things that I just remember seeing, because I went straight in and just wanted to go in every room to fight every trainer to get my Pokemon higher level, is there's a one trainer who had a Tentacool, and it's my first time encountering a Tentacool in Gen 1, and the first thing that popped out to me is it looks like an alien with its Gen 1 sprite. Probably not as much for you, Dustin, and yours, but Chris, did you think that it looked like an alien? Because I don't know, it's pretty spooky looking to me.
It is really spooky looking. I'm not a fan of these Gen 1 sprites at all.
So that was the first thing. And so also during this first trainer fighting that Tentacool is when I noticed something that I didn't realize earlier in these games. So in the current generations, the Pokemon, when it comes to their defensive typing, it incorporates both their types. So to explain this better, when I was going up against the Tentacool, I had my Gloom out. And so since Gloom is a grass poison and Tentacool is a water poison, so I was under the assumption that if Tentacool hit me with its poison attack, I think it was Poison Sting, that it'd be not very effective against Gloom because it's poison, but it didn't take in consideration. Or I'm sorry, I'm getting it mixed up. When I was using Gloom's grass attack against Tentacool, it's supposed to be a neutral damage attack, but it wasn't neutral. It was not very effective. So I only took into consideration one of the types instead of both of them. Does that make sense what I'm trying to explain?
I actually know what you're talking about, and it works correctly. It just says the wrong thing on screen. It's a glitch in the Generation 1 games.
Really?
Yeah. So, let's say that they use Poison Sting, and it's super effective against grass, and it's not very effective against poison, then it should be neutral. It's only going to look at your first typing to do your message. Like, the game will calculate it correctly. It'll be neutral. But the game's going to just look at your first typing, and then it'll say it's super effective, even if the damage calculation was normal.
Okay. Wow. I don't know, because I kept on seeing that, and that just threw me off. But I guess I wasn't even I was just so thrown off by the words. I wasn't paying attention to the actual damage itself.
Yeah. Generation 1 and it's good old buggy coding, am I right?
Well, while inside the SSN, did you guys notice something between all of the NPCs that are inside if you tried to talk to them, especially the shipmates?
No.
They talked with lay accent. So everyone had kind of like a French accent is what I was picking up there. Everyone had just constantly used lay basically instead of the... Otherwise, another one had a comment saying, you know what they say about sailors and fighting? And they never finished that sentence, so I never got to find out. Does anyone know?
Not at all.
So I could not make the connection. This was the first time you do see the Pokédex entry of Snorlax, which I thought was pretty cool, because previously we saw that there's a Pokemon sleeping outside and we had no idea who that was. So if this was our first time ever playing, this is our first real experience seeing it. And then the last thing I noticed, which was another comment that one of the NPCs made, which I liked, which they asked, which do you like more, a strong or rare Pokemon? So I'll ask you guys, which would you rather choose?
I'll just say, why not both?
You can't choose both. You have to pick one.
Probably rare. It's more fun to use a rare Pokemon than a strong Pokemon.
Yeah, I'll agree. Like, when I used to play Pokemon Emerald, there were some Pokemon that were really weak, but used to have 5 or 1% encounters. And you better bet if I found that 5 or 1%, I was using you, even if you were terrible.
I'm the complete same way, too. I always like to use a Pokemon that I think no one else is using, because it's not quite fun when you have mirror matchups, like 2 Pikachus and 2 Sand Slashes. So I'm glad that Chris got rid of his Pikachu.
Yeah, Pikachu is gone. I'm gonna find a better electric type. Don't you worry. On the SSN, there are 2 things I noted. One was very specific to me, and one was pretty general. The general one is I like how the SSN is set up with so many hidden items, just in trash cans or all over in the rooms. It really taught you to explore and check every nook and cranny of the game, which I thought was really good, especially we're pretty early on in the game. So if you start learning, if I check these different areas, I might find items. It's going to, set you up to find some good stuff in the future. And the second thing I noticed, my Charmeleon is awful. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but it learns practically nothing. I mean, just to jump ahead a little bit, I'm looking at my cartridge right now. It is level 34, and I am still spamming Ember, a move it learned at level 9, because it just won't learn anything new. Like, I started using Rage. Don't use Rage. Rage locks you in. You can't pick any other move. It is so weak. It only goes up in attack when someone else attacks you. Oh my gosh. So, I don't understand how Charizard became the Pokemon it is today, considering how awful it is to get to a Charizard. Okay, my rant's over.
I do feel bad for you, but, I guess currently in the 3 cities that we played in right now, Pikachu has also only been useful in like 1 city, which was with Misty, and ever since, I haven't really been using Pikachu as much. He's been definitely the weakest link on my party, it seems.
Dang. Well, I mean, my War Turtle has been putting in some work. He's really strong for me. I won't get too ahead of myself, but so obviously I mentioned. Oh no, I won't get ahead of myself. We'll stop right there.
All right. So finally, after you go through all the trainers, you do finally meet your rival again. And one thing I noticed in this was that he does mention how many Pokemon he's already caught at this point. He has caught 40 Pokemon. So at least in my case, he's definitely my rival, because I'm trying my hardest just to get 30 Pokemon, but I guess for you guys, he's gone way overboard.
I don't even think that's possible to have 40 Pokemon. If we do the math, this guy's cheating.
Maybe he evolved every Pokemon he caught, so maybe that's one way. That's where I failed. I should have evolved my Nidoran, which I did not. Well, did you guys have any special stories against the rival?
So, just to clarify, as I left the second gym, I still kept so I had the Nidorina, and I kept her in Nidorina specifically for that second gym because I didn't want her to evolve and have the ground typing, to be special or super effective against that. So, but I also saw that it learned Body Slam at level 23, and so it wasn't until right before the rival fight where it turned 23, learned Body Slam, and so at that time I used my Moonstone I've been saving to make it a Nido Queen, and then so that was just I documented my whole experience with the rival. So as I mentioned, my Nidorina turned 23. All my Pokemon actually were level 23 at this fight. So I had started out with my Geodude because I knew he had the Pidgey, I guess it's a Pidgeotto now, because I remember that from the last fight. So he took, just flying against rock is just not a matchup that you could ever win. And then after that, I also took out his Raticate with my Geodude, just because, again, normal against rock type, really not a good matchup. But then he sent out Kadabra, which I thought Kadabra's sprite in this gen also really looks, I think, similar to Abracadabra or Alakazam.
You can't just say both the Pokemon's name. You can't say Abra and Kadabra. That's going to be confusing.
So Kadabra, I don't know, they all look really similar in this gen, where I feel like they're more definitive in their evolutions than other gens, if that makes sense, I guess. But anyways, I had my Mr. Mime for Kadabra. And he has Light Screen, which is a really nice move this early, especially against the special attackers like Kadabra. So I put up a Light Screen and we had a confusion battle until it finally I won. And then also I was able to take out his Ivysaur pretty easily with my Mr. Mime as well.
Well, for me, I did not take any notes on this battle, so it's not noteworthy. But I think that's a good thing, considering that, just leading up to the past 2 gym battles, I basically bought multiple trainers that just got me down to 1 Pokemon. So in this case, I did not get down just to 1 Pokemon. That's something that's good, at least.
Yeah. And the rival fight for me, I was a little afraid at first with the level 19 Pidgeotto. But luckily, I still had Pikachu on me at the time, so I was able to use some Thunder Shocks and got through it, actually just barely got through Pidgeotto. And then before he was able to bring out Kadabra, luckily Kadabra has the worst defense possible, so I was able to use my Sand Slash, I was able to use Dig, and just using a move that has 150 base power, doing a physical move, it was able to to defeat that Kadabra pretty quickly, luckily. And the other 2 Pokemon, I was able to fight back just a little bit. So I didn't take any good notes on this one, but that's just because Poo-Poo didn't do too well against me.
Oh man, I almost forgot your rival's name was Poop.
He really is a poo-poo head.
Must be related to the PP that we saw earlier. Alright, so after this, I believe that is all the information. Does anyone have anything else before going to the gym? Did you, after grabbing Cut, did you try and go to other locations, or you just went straight to the gym in Sean's case?
Real quickly, before I finished on the SSN, funny enough, I was talking to the captain who gives you Cut, and as we're talking, he finishes and says, "Let me give you Cut," and then the text came up that said, "Your bag is full." I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So I had to throw away an antidote, and then I was able to receive Cut, but that's another thing that we take for granted in modern Pokemon is we don't have bag limits like in Generation 1, especially when you need key items like that.
I was just going to say that totally happened to me in the next episode that we'll talk about, but similar situation.
And then I think I mentioned this. I don't know if I mentioned this in a previous episode or if I mentioned it off topic to you guys, but I was trying to lose on purpose at some point on the SSN after getting Cut. Because if you lose and you get whited out and sent back to the Pokemon Center after you've received HMO1 Cut, the SSN doesn't disappear, so you're allowed to go back on. And then in those first tiles between being on the dock before going on the ship, if you have a Pokemon that can surf, if you go directly to the right, for some odd reason, there is just a pickup truck there. It is one full sprite. It does nothing. You normally can't see this. You're normally not supposed to see it because you're not usually going to have a Pokemon that knows Surf at this point in the game. Unfortunately, I tried really hard to lose, and it didn't happen. I was going to get to struggle before that happened, so I just gave up and won, and the SSN went away. But that pickup truck has actually been subject to a lot of lore and a lot of internet discussions, playground discussions. I know people used to say that you could find a Mew underneath that truck, or that if you beat the Pokemon League 365 times, then the SSN will come back, because it says it comes back every year. And funny enough, like no one knows why it's there. No one knows why it was programmed. However, in Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, if you do that and go find the pickup truck, which is still there, you will find a lava cookie, which is an item exclusive to one of the mountain regions just in the Hoenn games. So it's not an item you can get in Fire Red and Leaf Green normally. There's a little Easter egg to people who used to talk about that pickup truck. Fun facts.
I definitely remember hearing that lore, that's how you found Mew.
I didn't know there's so much lore on just one pickup truck in this game. It's pretty cool.
And it doesn't go, like, they've included it in every single game. It's still there in Pokemon Let's Go. Like, it's just a fun little thing that's stayed around. And I believe there's a glitch you can do that'll push you through the cut tree or past the bodyguard that checks your ticket. So later in the game, if I get the opportunity, I'm going to see if I can get to that pickup truck. A pickup truck that does nothing, by the way.
Once when you guys did get the HM cut, since we all know it's a very important HM, which Pokemon did you decide to give cut?
I did give it to Sandslash, obviously, because he needs attack that has slash and cut. Why not? How about you, Chris?
I gave it to that Farfetch that I caught. He's my HM slave now.
Once when I got cut, I don't know, because it's not the greatest move. I did go back to the earlier route, the one right above Vermilion City. So that's Route 6. And I encountered a Mankey, and I was like, oh, I named it Scratch specifically so I could give it cut, and then, I don't know, maybe use it for this gym just to find out that I couldn't learn cut. After I found that out, I just gave cut to my Gloom.
HMs are weird like that. Like, Raticate can't learn cut, and in Red and Blue, Charizard can't learn Fly, although they rectified that in Pokemon Yellow. So they had some weird choices with HMs in this game.
One thing I did notice, after getting cut, at least in this case, that was when I did go through the full route on the right and ended up doing Diglet's Cave and getting Mr. Mime. And I did have a note here for my Mr. Mime. I had to trade a Clefairy. And if you guys remembered, I did get a Clefable from Moonstone. So literally in the Diglet Cave, I evolved my Clefairy into Clefable. And then once when I came across this trade, I no longer had a Clefairy, but I really wanted that Mr. Mime. So I went all the way back to Mount Moon and probably spent a good 30 minutes trying to capture another Clefairy just for Mr. Mime. So I was struggling.
Oh no.
Do you guys have any other stories before we go into the gym?
No, I mean I got the TM for Flash. I caught at least 10 Pokemon, and that's a TM HM that kind of gave me some trouble as a kid because I used to rush through the game, and then you get to later parts in the game and not having Flash is not fun.
I'll say I didn't realize that Flash was over there because, obviously I went there first and I got the Mr. Mime, and then, I saw the tree for cubs. Like, I completely forgot about that. But so I'll just say later in the game, probably not this episode, but next episode, is when I'll tell the story of when I realized I didn't have Flash. Me trying to find out where it was. But I'll just say one last thing is that, I'm also with the new games, I'm so accustomed to just walking up to the small tree and pressing A on it, and it just the text popping up saying, oh, would you like to cut this tree? And then so of course I did that here and nothing was popping up, and I was like, wow, I really had to press the start button, go to the Pokemon and say to cut the tree.
Yeah, that's with every single HM in this game, unfortunately.
Oh man, really makes you appreciate the quality of life improvements they made later on. They really made you work for everything in this generation.
Yes. And before we actually tackled the gym, I don't know if you guys thought about this, but Vermilion Gym is technically optional until you get to the very end of the game, because Cerulean Gym gives you the ability to use cut outside of battle, and Vermilion Gym gives you the ability to use flash, which is optional. So if you really wanted to, you could just skip Vermilion Gym, go back up to Cerulean, cut the tree that was blocking you from going to Route 9 to your right into Rock Tunnel. Nothing is stopping you from avoiding Lieutenant Surge altogether.
Oh, I never knew that.
Now, it'd be a little silly to defeat Lieutenant Surge after you have the rest of the 7 gym badges and level 50 Pokemon, but yeah, just saying.
Especially in the case of Pokemon Yellow, which we'll get to. I'll probably go last. Now going through our gym experiences, let's start off with Chris in this case.
Sure. Before I even get to Lieutenant Surge, I was trying to figure out the puzzle here because I can remember as a kid knowing that the way you did it was you found the first one, which is random somewhere, and the second one is adjacent to it in one of the spots. And I kept failing, and I couldn't understand what I was doing wrong. So I finally had to Google it and say, how does Gen 1 calculate which trash can it's going to be? And oh my gosh, it's some confusing thing where odds are it's going to be next to you, but there's always a chance that it's the second one is going to be the top leftmost trash can. And that's ended up what happened to me is that I selected one. It said it was the first switch. And then I just went to that top left trash can and ding dong, I found the second switch. I thought that was just ridiculous. But I went through the gym, the couple trainers that they have there. They have a sailor, a rocker, and a gentleman, all with electric types. Magnemite is not a steel type in this game. It's pure electric, which makes life a little simpler. And it does not have levitate, so as you guys know, my Sandslash had Dig at this point. So I just went through, defeated the 3 trainers. I got to Lieutenant Surge, which in my case has 3 Pokemon. It has a Voltorb, which doesn't know any electric moves. It knows Tackle, Screech, and Sonic Boom. Got rid of that quickly. Got to a Pikachu, which knows Thunder Shock, Thunder Wave, Growl, Quick Attack. And it can't attack it can only use Quick Attack against Sandslash, doesn't do much, got through it. And then you get to his big boy Raichu, level 24, which knows Thunder Shock, Thunderbolt, and Growl, meaning it cannot attack a Sandslash. So this was a pretty easy gym for me.
And I did want to comment just on that puzzle, Chris. I did not know there was a puzzle in this gym. I just basically randomly hit A on all of them and just unlocked the thing, and I was good to go. Was there supposed to be a sequence you're supposed to press the buttons in?
Oh yeah, like I'm going to look it up for you right now. So the Gen 1 Vermilion City gym puzzle in Pokemon Blue and Yellow. Oh, see, IGN doesn't have a good one. You have to go to like the fan ones where they're giving you all the special stats and everything. Oh my gosh. So there's always a chance, that it's the top left one. So, the first switch is in very specific spots. It could either be it's always in an even labeled spot. There's a whole grid that they laid out. It can only be in specific ones. And then once you find it, some of them can only be in the first or last position after that. It is the most confusing thing. It is not random at all. And they do not tell you how to do this. No one tells you how to do this. So I commend Pokemon Gen 1 for giving you some hints and making you figure things out. And I also am going to attack it at some points for not telling you at all what to do.
How about you, Sean? How was your experience there?
I remember this quote-unquote puzzle, and I always hated it. And so I was not looking forward to going through this because I actually just timed myself because I knew it'd take me forever to complete it. So I wanted to see how long it took, which surprisingly, so it took me 8 minutes, but those 8 minutes must have felt like 20 minutes because I just kept on failing over and over again until I finally got it open. And I just hate that puzzle so much. It's not a real puzzle. It's just luck, basically.
Yep.
I do feel really bad for you guys then, because I thought it was just, you just press A on every trash can, you're set to go.
How was your gym fight, Dustin?
For Pokemon Yellow, Lieutenant Surge only has one Pokemon, which is a Raichu. So I used one dig from my Sand Slash, and I was done. And like, this was now by far the easiest gym battle. I was like, is this really it? When I saw his Pokemon team, only one Pokemon, I'm like, his like other trainers outside were stronger than him in this case. So I was very disappointed by the experience.
I guess then I will go following that, since I do have the War Turtle, so I have, I guess, the hardest matchup with this. So, like I mentioned before, I gave War Turtle Dig, and so I thought, already at a disadvantage, I'm gonna start with War Turtle and just see how much damage I could do with Dig before he faints. And so I took out both the Voltorb and the Pikachu, just one shot with Dig. And then he sent out the Raichu, which also, Raichu's sprite in ours looks crazy. I am not a fan of it. I really disliked it. And I was just like, what did they do to my boy Raichu? Just, I don't know. So that already threw me off. And then right when I went again, because I just figured, you know what, might as well just go for the Dig, because I figured it'd be faster than my War Turtle, but just do that, see what happens. And he used an X speed right when I used Dig, so I was able to get the first Dig off. It almost got him down, but then he did faint my Raichu. I'm sorry. He then fainted my War Turtle, and then I just went to Geodude to finish him off because, no more messing around. But I was impressed that War Turtle was able to take out most of his gym using Dig.
That's crazy. A water-type Pokemon taking on the electric gym.
Like I said, they don't call me the Pokemon Master for nothing.
That's some anime logic. Ash goes in with the wrong Pokemon. They're like, actually, if you do this, you're way better.
I am the main character.
So now that we beat the gym, let's just go through some final statistics. Did you guys write down the time that you completed the gym at?
I did not.
I don't think I did either.
In my case, I completed this gym at 8 hours and 43 minutes. So I'm comparing it to when I completed the second gym, how long it took just this sector, basically, of the game. And I think it took 3 hours and 18 minutes. So if we compare that to like the first gym, it took 1 hour. The second gym took about 4 hours for me. And then this one took 3 hours. So just interesting to see that variability so far. Basically, maybe some of those hours were spent trying to capture the Clefairy, and also trying to level up my Pokemon just to battle you guys, especially Sean. But I just realized that would take way longer, because in the end, my Pokemon party did not have a level 30 Pokemon on it. I would like to hear Sean's Pokemon party first, before we go down our Pokemon parties.
So mine, I had mentioned when I fought the rival fight that they're all level 23. In the actual gym fight, I got them all to level 24. And so the only new thing was I added obviously Mr. Mime, and then I evolved my my Nidorina to Nidoqueen, and then obviously like the War Turtle evolution, and then I think I already had the Pharaoh by the end of the last gym. I know one thing is I don't remember, or I was hoping that my Geodude would evolve to a Graveler before this gym, but he didn't evolve at level 24, so I just gave up on trying to level him up because I wanted to try my anime main character strategy.
That makes me feel way better, because I was thinking, like, going into this gym and like after I beat the gym, I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna beat Sean if he has a full level 30 party. How about you, Chris? How's your party?
Definitely not that good right now, but after Lieutenant Surge, I had Sandy the Sandslash at level 25. I had Scratchcat the Meowth at level 24, and Char the Charmeleon at level 25. That's it. Only 3 Pokemon so far, but we're going up.
I mean, I like how you're keeping the levels up there, which is good. For me, mine is kind of like Mosh Posh is a good way to put it, where I had some of my newer Pokemon with Mr. Mime and Clefable, They're at level 15 and 16. So my weakest Pokemon I never really used, but they're in the party just because. Pidgeotto was carried over from the last gym. He was level 19. My Pikachu was level 20, so definitely weaker than your guys' Pokemon, but that's mainly because I use Gyarados, who's level 25. And then my Sandslash, he was the one that literally just carried me at level 28. So he did do a lot of the heavy lifting there.
That's just so crazy because, I mean, in my eyes, I have a full party, all level 24. Chris only has 3 Pokemon in his party. And you just have one super overpowered Pokemon carrying the rest of your party.
And the question is, will the theme remain the same in the next episode? But before we end this one, the last thing, did you guys write down at this point your Pokédex?
I didn't write that down. I could tell you currently, but I'd rather save that for next episode. And then
See, Chris is opening it up while he does that. I did let you guys know I had like 29 Pokemon still, sadly. If I just like evolved one more Pokemon, I could have got to 30 in this case. But in the future, you guys should write down in your notes the ending time and the Pokédex entries along with the Pokemon levels.
Yeah, I think I was going to say, I think I was close to, I'm at 24 after 4 gyms, so I want to say I was close to 18 or so after 3. That's about where I was at.
Oh, so I know where I'm at currently, and I know I didn't add a lot of Pokemon from now to then. So I'm pretty sure that I had about 16 Pokemon at this point.
Oh man, about half is my Pokemon. Well, we will find out in the future. Will this come at a cost? Who knows? When I find the 30th Pokemon. In this case, do you guys have any closing statements?
I would just say that I thought so far that Gen 1 got a little easier. The beginning of the game is hard, and then once you get to Lieutenant Surge, it starts to ease up a little bit once you get the game. I'm enjoying my time.
I would definitely agree with that. As I mentioned earlier, like there are multiple times when I was struggling and I was white out, basically, but just survived by one Pokemon. Compared to like this trip, they only had one Pokemon in the gym. That's still crazy to me.
Oh, yeah. I know I mentioned this to you in person, but do you remember why there's only one Pokemon for Lieutenant Surge?
I do, but you would probably explain it better, Chris.
Oh, it's pretty simple. So the reason why Lieutenant Surge only has one Pokemon in Pokemon Yellow is because they're trying to mirror the anime as close as possible. And the anime, in the first season of Pokemon at the 3rd gym, Lieutenant Surge only uses a Raichu, and Ash only uses his Pikachu. And so they decided to be pretty faithful there. And it is the only gym in all of Pokemon to date where the gym leader only uses one Pokemon.
That's a good thing, because you wouldn't want to disappoint more trainers as you went on.
Well, I hope everyone's enjoyed this episode. We will be battling each other later to see who has the best team after obtaining the Thunder Badge. In our next episode, you guys will follow our experiences leading up to the 4th gym leader, Erica, and I'm sure we're all going to have a great story of getting through the tunnel to get there. Until next time, we are the Trainer Trio, signing off. Catch you in Cerulean City, trainers.